Welcome along to Snetterton Circuit in Norfolk for the second event of the 2012 Logson Group Porsche Championship. Let's take a look at the grid for our first race in the programme. Richard Sykes on pole position with Richard Styron alongside, then it's Dave Bierman and Jerry Taylor on row 2. Production Boxster pole goes to Stephen Brown in car number 2. And back in 16th, the pole position for the 924s is Rebecca Jackson. 24 cars lining up for what is the first race in our programme, but the second race of the weekend. It was Richard Sykes who took the win on Saturday. 2-day meetings, of course, these Logson Group Porsche Championship events, qualifying on day 1. Normally it's Saturday, of course, unless we're on a bank holiday weekend. And today, 2 races for you, rounds 4 and 5 of the championship. And it was good news yesterday for Richard Styron, who came home in second position, got his first points on the board for the 2012 season. Richard Sykes taking his first win. Jerry Taylor, of course, winning the 2 races that we saw last time in the programme at Oulton Park. Cars lining up on the grid. You can see the very slight rise here on the centre straight, and once they get over that, it's pretty much a similar gradient downhill into Rich's the first corner. The guys with the difficult job to do, I think it's fair to say, the Class A machines, the Boxster class, with 280 brake horsepower to hook up on very, very wet conditions. We've got a full grid. I can tell you that all of the drivers finished the first race on Saturday. Incredible driving from the guys in very difficult conditions. I say guys, but use the generic term, because we've got Rebecca Jackson, who took a class win in round 3, so congratulations to Rebecca, and she's going to be defending that win in this race. Right at the back of the grid, we've got Mark McKenzie in the 924. He finished a couple of laps down yesterday after some technical problems, but good to see him back in the championship. We've got Simon Hawksley having his first appearance in the 924s as well. Returning driver Guillaume Gruchet in the Boxsters, which is great to see. Newcomer Gary Goodwin. Stephen Boyle's back with us as well in the Boxsters in car number 77. Red lights on, and let's see how well they all get it hooked up. It's a cracking start. Just look at this fantastic sight as they go away from the lights out. Richard Styron gets ahead momentarily of Richard Sykes, who surely has got the advantage on the inside line. The Union flag livery car down into turn 1. There's Mike Seller in car number 33, side by side with Tom Andrew, car number 17, I think it was, on the inside, but Styron's ahead now into Montreal, the 180 degree hairpin, and I think Richard Sykes has just nabbed the lead on the inside. He had the racing line. This is good, clean, fair racing from all of them, and again, like yesterday, I think they've all got through the first corner, which is testament to the superb driving ability, driving standards of all of these drivers. Very wet, very difficult conditions. You could probably end up watching some classes, shall we say, a little bit further up the racing ladder, and there'd be a few casualties on turn 1, but not so with these. As Sykes leads from Styron, Jerry Taylor having a scrap at the moment for 3rd place. Down into Agostini they go for the first time. There's the production Boxster going through, the yellow and blue car of Stephen Brown, who's having a good run. Stephen second in the championship after Oulton Park, with a non-finish in the opening race of the season, and well, they're just going to have to feel and splash their way around these first few laps. It's a timed race, so they get 20 minutes of circuit action with a 3-mile circuit. If they cross the line at the right time, they may get an extra few minutes racing out of it, which is going to be good for all concerned. As we look at Mike Seller, at the moment being chased by Sid Coombs down the Bentley straight, probably the longest straight in UK motor racing, but the race leader's already at the other end. Richard Sykes turns in, race leader Richard Styron in 2nd place, David Bierman in 3rd, That's him in the 87, the yellow and blue car. Jerry Taylor in car number 16. The championship leader coming into this round is there in 4th position. Jerry, the 53-year-old from Haverhill. As we've mentioned before, chairman of the Taylor's Foundry and a very competitive sportsman from an early age. He was a racing cyclist from the age of 13 up until 28. Now very much in the saddle, but in racing cars, a very accomplished driver, a very good, clean, fair driver, Jerry Taylor. Chasing Bierman at the moment. Bierman, thus far, never present on the podium. He took 3rd position in both races at Oulton Park, and it's the yellow and blue car just down a shot. There it is, going up the centre straight, across the line. 2nd, 3rd Bierman, 4th position Jerry Taylor, 5th position David Bierman, followed by Tom Andrew, car number 17, youngster Tom Andrew, having a good run. And we go back to John Bierman in car number 3. As I said, he's a non-finish in race 1 at Oulton Park. Yesterday got his first points on the board with 6th position. So that was a good start for him. Several drivers kick-starting their points campaigns. Well, Jerry Taylor into 3rd place and demoting at Montreal David Bierman, who thus far, as I said, or started to say, has been an ever-present on the podium. 3rd position in both races at Oulton, 3rd position in our first race here yesterday, and now finds himself back down into 4th place at the expense of the championship leader, Jerry Taylor. So Taylor, there he is, 3rd position, 3rd car. Richard Sykes leading. Look back down the order, car number 74, Guillaume Grichet, being chased by Chris Valentine. Those two just outside the top 10 at the moment. So Jerry Taylor in 3rd place, busy chasing after the 2nd place car. I'm not quite sure how much progress is going to be. Fastest lap, incidentally, in yesterday's racing, going to race winner Richard Sykes. Stephen Brown in the Boxsters, continuing his chase of Stephen Potts. And James Atherton taking the fastest lap in the 924s. There's the lady that won yesterday's race, Rebecca Jackson, the racing journalist, being chased by Alistair Kirkham in blue. So Alistair giving chase at the moment to Rebecca Jackson, but Richard Sykes still out front. There he is, turning into Brundle Corner, still being chased by Jerry Taylor and Richard Styron. David Bierman 4th position, then it's his brother John. So John Bierman running well. Tom Andrew down behind them as well. Tom in the 17 car, comes from Bebington, raced in the VAG Trophy in 2009, GT Cup in 2010 and 2011. So very experienced young sports car racer, and probably one of the youngest drivers, if not the youngest driver in the Boxster class. Might be looking to try and carve a career for himself in GT racing. As we go back to Mike Sellett, car number 33, being challenged by Sid Coombs, and the man from Long Ditton, the 39-year-old, just squeezes past. That was a good manoeuvre there by Sid Coombs, and that was a pass at Murray's. You don't see too many passes there. That's the last corner before they come onto the main straight, down the centre straight now, and Coombs has got the inside line. Mike Sellett on the outside. Well, they splash past the knocked on camera on the pit lane. Gives us a really good idea of how fast the cars are going and that fantastic sound that they make. Just going back down the order to have a look at Adam Croft in the Martini liveried car. Adam dicing with Stephen Brown. So Brown at the moment challenging for honours in the production class. Brown taking 11th position overall. Great result for a production spec Boxster, this new initiative that's been introduced for this year. And you can put a production car on track for around about £10,000. That's a lot of race car for a little money, I've got to say, and a lot of interest being generated around the paddock, so we might get a few more of those. As getting it all squirrely, there goes John Bierman, and he could possibly lose out here, because closing up is Tom Andrew. Tom Andrew would have seen that wobble, and he'll know that Bierman is a little bit flustered. There's an overtake possible here at Hamilton. He's too far back to do anything about it at the moment, is Andrew, but he'll hang on and maybe have a little nibble when they come down the Wellington Straight. Sorry, the Bentley Straight. Wellington Straight calls it Silverstone. Through Oggies, first of the right-hand sweepers. From Oggies they go into Williams and then onto the Bentley Straight, which is where they're going now. And Tom Andrew beginning to shape up and thinking about having a pass here. There's going to be loads of spray being kicked up, so the double advantage to having a go is that you're out of the spray. And here they come then. It's a long, long run right the way down into Brundle Corner. And he's side by side. Is he going to be able to go through and take the position? It doesn't look like Bierman's defending it too vehemently. Good clean racing from these two. A lot of respect between the two drivers. And that was a good overtake by young Tom Andrew, the 24-year-old, passing John Bierman very, very fairly. Through the bomb hole they go, and Tom Andrew on a little bit of a mission here. Tom finished in 5th position yesterday and now gets back into 5th position in this one. He'll be chasing after the 4th place car, which is David Bierman in the yellow and blue machine. Up ahead of him, Jerry Taylor, of course, into 3rd position at the moment. But good racing to be had here despite the wet conditions. Everybody enjoying themselves, behaving absolutely impeccably. Just the one retirement so far, Simon Hawksley in the 924's the number 8 car. So disappointment for Simon Hawksley. Sure, he'll be back on track next time. As we look at Stephen Potts in 25, there's Rebecca Jackson, front runner in the 924's. Sid Coombs, though, running in 7th position at the moment, down behind John Bierman. As we go back to Rick Styrin, still there in 2nd position. Up ahead of him, race leader Richard Sykes, looking to make it 2 out of 2 and equal Jerry Taylor's 2012 record. It doesn't look like that's under threat at the moment, but 2nd position is under threat very much now, with Rick Styrin coming under pressure. Styrin coming under pressure from Jerry Taylor, so the championship leader closing in on Richard Styrin, who got his first race finish under his belt in the last race. It's Sykes leading Styrin, Jerry Taylor in 3rd. Will it stay like that to the flag? Join us after the break to find out.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter King.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
Welcome back to a very wet Snetterton circuit for the first race of our 2nd programme in the 2012 Logson Group Porsche Championship. There is Richard Styrin running 2nd in the race at the moment. It's Richard Sykes out front. There's the 924 battle. 3rd place in the 924s at the moment, Alistair Kirkham in the red machine. So good dicing to be had right the way down the order, but Richard Sykes still giving chase. Still being given chase by Richard Styrin there, 99 car in 2nd position, Jerry Taylor in 3rd. Good battle going on here. Stephen Potts in car number 25, coming down the inside of Nick Hull, and it's a good overtake by Potts, man who took the fastest lap, took a win rather in round 1 of the championship for the production spec. So it's production spec, which of course coming into its own a little bit more in the wet conditions here. Gary Goodwin now having passed the driver rep Nick Hull for position, so those guys down at the moment in about 12th, 13th place. There's the race leader though, fastest lap once again for him, Richard Sykes, still out front with Richard Styrin in 2nd position. Back to Gary Goodwin, still trying to give chase at the moment. Gary Goodwin to Stephen Potts, Nick Hull down behind him, Stephen Potts in 13th place, just to clarify where they are. Nick Hull in 15th at the minute, and Jerry Taylor, as you can see, has now caught Richard Styrin. So a good battle between these two. Looks down the inside, they're coming up towards the hairpin, and Styrin's virtually left the door open here and through. Well, I'm talking about door open, it was a very wide line. He's just seemed to get a couple of wheels on the dirt on the outside. That will have lost him time as he comes out of the hairpin. And Jerry Taylor, 2nd in the championship, now in 2nd in the race. There were 3 points between Taylor and Sykes coming into this round, and at the moment Richard Sykes is going to be in the championship lead. Jerry Taylor into second. That's really good for him. There's the championship and race leader going into Agostini, with Jerry Taylor now in second position. Richard Styron is there in third. Fourth position is David Bierman in the yellow and blue car, and he's being reeled in at the moment by Tom Andrew, the black and silver number 17 car. And we saw Tom pass John Bierman just before the break. Second and third, they're the last two podium finishers at the moment in the main class. Jerry Taylor getting away very quickly from Rick Styron. He lost a lot of momentum, did Styron, going wide at the hairpin, and he seems to have lost out on that second position. Jerry Taylor's best lap time, a 2 minutes 32.1. Richard Sykes 2 minutes 31.4, and Styron 2:32.66. So it just gives you an indication that I think the cars have kind of levelled out a little bit. As we go back, have a look at Alistair Kirkham running at the moment in fourth position in Class C. James Atherton leading the class from Sean Siddall. Rebecca Jackson in white, we saw the previous race winner in third place. So another class podium on for Rebecca in this one, if she can hang on from that red 924 of Alistair Kirkham. But back we go, 99 still there on the podium, but third position for Richard Styron. A very unhappy Oulton Park for him, with no scores. Managed to get some points on the board in the first race here with second position, so it's going to be another podium if he can hang on, and there's no reason to suppose that he won't. So there's James Atherton, that's the leader of the 924s, car number 6, the 21-year-old from Preston. Another very exciting prospect for sports car racing coming into the 924 championship. Just out of university, working for a concrete product manufacturer in sales. And this is the former number 60 car, now Red 6 as we know, and put the car together himself, and he's done a few track days. Very exciting young driver, and good to see him winning in the 924s. This is exactly what we want to see in the 924 championship, as well as some of the older guys having some fun, getting out there and enjoying themselves, finding some young drivers to race against as well, who are finding their way in motorsport. It's a very cost-effective way of doing it, and even more cost-effective this weekend because we've got the 3 races. So back to Mike Sello, who we saw a little bit of earlier on in the day, the 33 car. Arjo Josh down behind him in 44. The white car, Arjo, the 44-year-old from Brighton. 924 battle continues though, and Rebecca Jackson still coming under pressure from Sean Siddall. I think that's actually for second position in class, but wherever you look on circuit there seems to be things, and that's a change for fourth place. Up into fourth place goes Tom Andrew, and that was on the inside of Agostini. We said at Snetterton, one of the things that Snetterton suffered from in the past was perhaps a little bit of a lack of overtaking, but no such problems now, and Tom Andrew up into fourth position ahead of David Bierman. So Bierman in the 87 car down to fifth position in actual fact now. This is going to be, without wanting to rub it in, it's going to be his worst score of the year. 3 third places thus far, and finds himself fifth here in the wet. So still in a very good position in terms of the championship. Tom Andrew though was joint fourth coming into the round, coming into the event here at Snetterton, with Jerry Taylor leading from Sykes, David Bierman in third. So some really good racing to be had, even in this very early stage of the season. Worth keeping an eye on the points as you go through the course of the year. There is Arjo Josh, car number 44. Josh running in 9th place at the moment. Mike Seller in 8th is ahead of him, and Steve Boyles involved in the mix as well, down into the Brundle-Nelson complex, if you want to call it that. Mike Seller though hanging on to position, the 47-year-old from Sittingbourne in Kent, doing a good job holding on at the moment to 8th place. Sid Coombs having got away down the road ahead of him in 7th position, the red and white machine that we saw Mike engaged in battle in earlier on. If you look in the distance, see Sid Coombs is away and gone. So these three continue to have their battle. 77 car at the rear, as we said. Stephen Boyles having his first outing of the season in car number 77. Good to see him back in the championship again. So Mike Seller goes through. Simon Now, who's that car that's out there? 924. Stuck on the outside, but up across the line we go again. These three cars having a very good fight at the moment. Mike Seller in the dominant position, down into Richie's corner we go, and meanwhile just a little bit ahead of them, the scrap's still on for second position. 99 Richard Styron in third place. That's Carl Rossin, the 924 that they've just lapped. So of course the slightly slower 924s will get lapped over the course of the race. We've already I think we've seen Carl Rossin. The next target for them will be Mark McKenzie as we go back and have a little focus on the 924s again. Rebecca Jackson still there and dicing with Sean Siddle, but a spin for Guillaume Gruchet, and look how much water there is on the just get a wheel off and you're absolutely stuck. Normally the bone dry drought conditions that we've had from March, you wouldn't have had that problem a few months ago, but now he's got a real problem, Guillaume Gruchet, trying to get the 74 car back on circuit. He's going to find himself a lap down, so Guillaume rejoins, albeit a number of places down the order, but this is second and third position. Third place Richard Styron, still chasing Jerry Taylor. Styron, I don't think is even going to climb into the top 6 of the championship after this weekend. Those two non-scores at Oulton Park, really a big dent on his championship chances, as Stephen Boyles now starts to put the pressure on Mike Seller. Arjo Josh away ahead of them, so Arjo's got up into 8th position, so good stuff for him. Again, back to Rick Styron, who's being closed in now by Tom Andrew. Let's have a look at lap times. Tom Andrew, 2 minutes 31.9. So Tom Andrew is clearly the faster car, but it's the checkered flag for Richard Sykes. Win number 2, he matches Jerry Taylor on wins. There is Taylor on his slowing down lap in second position. Richard Styron takes third place from Tom Andrew, but Richard Sykes continues to have a superb season. It's been a good opening season for him. 2 second positions at Oulton Park, followed up with 2 wins here at Snetterton, and also fastest lap. He's been fast in both of those. The 924 win going the way of James Atherton there in car number 6. Second position in the 924s going to Rebecca Jackson. But here's confirmation of the Boxster. Sykes, Taylor, Styron first, second and third. Tom Andrew in 4th place from the Beermans. David in 5th. And John Beerman in 6th position. The production class was won by Stephen Brown from Stephen Potts, with, as mentioned, James Atherton winning the 924s, Sean Siddle in second position, and Rebecca Jackson completing the podium today.
Here at Snetterton, a really wet circuit, which suits me, suits the car. So I'm delighted with the 2 victories. The extra weight that the 987 carries over the other models doesn't help in the dry, but it certainly does in the wet. A little bit more sophisticated car, and you certainly get rewarded for being nice and gentle with it. So a bit of a clear victory, really. Me, the circuit, the conditions and the car, great combination. So thanks to Newbury for providing a great car, and looking forward to the third race.
Well, the day started off pretty wet, as you can see. Managed to set the car up for the wet. Started this race today in second. Got a good start next to Rebecca Jackson. Got in amongst the boxes at the back, and then managed to hold the position. Little battle going on behind me, so I managed to build a bit of a lead until sort of 5 minutes before the end of the race, and I saw Sean overtaking Rebecca, and I could see him catching, but managed to hold it till the end. The main thing was keeping it on the track in this weather.
Yeah, day's been going really well, and it's obviously very wet. We're struggling a bit because we've got old tyres on, but we're up with the front runners in terms of lap time, so that's quite nice. Showing our potential of the car, really. Car's been built really well by friend Miles, and I think we're going to run well this year. So really pleased with what's going on.
All the excitement and action of Trans Am racing will be on GoRacingTV.com this season. You can keep up with all the action from the track each weekend during the 2012 Trans Am season, streamed to you over the internet daily. Now, quick videos keeping you in the middle of Trans Am action in the middle of your busy day. Watch your favorite drivers from your mobile phone or tablet with the new GoRacingTV.com app. But coverage doesn't end there. When the weekend's over, on your schedule, check out 30 minutes of Trans Am this week on GoRacingTV.com, GoTransAm.com, or on YouTube. Get the full behind-the-scenes look of the championship weekend. Trans Am has enjoyed a long racing history. Join us as we write the next chapter of that history. America's Road Racing Series, stepping into a new era of Trans Am racing.
Final race, conditions are getting even wetter. Unfortunately, the last 2 laps of the last race got really wet, and Jerry Taylor started closing the gap. So I'd expect a little bit more competition now. The 987 is okay in slippery conditions, but once you start getting really wet, it just does feel unsettled. So I'm expecting more of a battle this time, but starting up pole position again. So let's keep out of trouble and hope for another victory.
To keep it on the track, really, I think is my only concern. If you've got to finish, it's the main thing. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull up many more places because the water's affecting us, and we haven't got the tread depth really in the car. So just want to keep it in the same place, try and finish 7th, and maybe pick up a few places if somebody comes off or does a spin. So just trying to keep it consistent and make sure we don't make too many mistakes, really.
I think what Sid Coombs is saying is probably what they're saying all the way down the grid. The 2 Richards on the front row, Sykes and Styrin. It's a big field of competitive Boxsters down behind them. The production Boxsters, of course, Stephen Potts and Stephen Brown about to renew battle. We've got the 924 battle as well. 1 win so far each for Rebecca Jackson and James Atherton. Atherton getting fastest lap and win in the second one, so he'll be keen to try and repeat that in this one. Conditions, though, as you heard, deteriorating a little bit since race 2. If they could get any worse, there's so much standing water around. But the Union Flag livery car of Richard Sykes is the man who's going to try and beat them all again. Is he going to be able to take a perfect hat-trick? He's the championship leader now. He's already wrested the championship lead away from Jerry Taylor. Richard Sykes in the 21 car. He's had 3 fastest laps so far this year. In fact, it's the last 3. I beg your pardon, it's the first race of the year. Fastest lap in the first race, second race of the season went to Rick Styrin. That was at Oulton Park. So in terms of this weekend, though, it's been pole position, 2 wins, 2 fastest laps, and he's looking to try and do it again. Best place to do it from, of course, pole position. No spray in front of him until he hits the back markers. Richard Styrin on his outside, car number 99, as we said, kick-started his championship campaign. Those 2 non-finishers at Oulton Park, I think he might be ruining those at the end of the season, but we'll see how that all pans out as the rest of the season goes. You get a really good view here of the climb up the centre straight here at Snetterton. On a sunny day, a marvellous place to come and watch. There's usually a little bit of a breeze to keep you nice and cool, and a lot of raised spectator banks have been put in right the way around the circuit, so that there are several really good vantage points. And it's great to come and spend a day here, and you can work your way around the circuit, watch from different races from different points on the circuit, and get a good perspective of what a challenging and versatile circuit this is now. 5th race of the 2012 Logson Porsche Championship about to get underway here. The last of the 924s just coming into line at the back of the field. You can see the medical car at the back of the field just coming into line as well. There's the green flag, right of shot. That tells us that we're all ready to race. 5-second board goes up to complete the pre-race protocol. Engine notes rise. Let's see who's going to get away. Is it going to be another perfect start by Richard Sykes? They're all jockeying for position off the grid. It looks like Sykes has done well. Sykes in the lead. Jerry Taylor, what's happened to Richard Styrin? He's lost loads of places. Styrin in 99. Well, Oh dear, oh dear, he's been passed by a hatload of cars. That's a difficult start for him. Steve Boyles again renewing battle with Mike Seller. He goes around the outside. Adam Croft down behind them. Then it's Stephen Brown in yellow and blue, who's again on for a perfect score as Styron goes very wide indeed. John Bierman in car number 3, dicing with his brother David in 87. So John trying to get the better of his brother in this one. At the moment he's going to have to settle. Now Styron's recovered well actually. Richard Styron in 99 has recovered quite well, and he's got ahead of Tom Andrew, so it wasn't a great start but a good recovery. Let's see what happens as they come down into Agostini for the first time. Richard Sykes leading, Jerry Taylor, then it's David Bierman. John Bierman goes wide, Richard Styron up the inside, Tom Andrew in 17 following. They sort themselves out real well, and I repeat, the driving standards here very good indeed. I'm not talking about driving standards getting off the line, keeping it on circuit, not bumping and barging each other off the track. So many other championships would come here to Snetterton and you'd have all sorts of casualties down on the first turn, but these guys, really superb racing, and dare I say it, a lesson for the others to watch. So on the infield section for the first time, and John Bierman fending off Tom Andrew. We've seen Tom get the job done a couple of times already today and managed to pass both of the Bierman brothers. And of course this is where Tom pulled off the manoeuvre on David Bierman in the last race, but he was on the inside line when they came through last time. Richard Styron challenging David Bierman. That's the red car with the white stripes challenging the yellow and blue machine, who holds third position at the moment. So David Bierman also getting on the case of Jerry Taylor. Now Richard Sykes said that Taylor was getting quicker as it tended to get wetter, and off goes James Atherton, class winner from our first race, fastest lap as well. He's not going to do it this time. Bitter disappointment for James Atherton in red 6. The 21-year-old from Preston is out of the race. But look at this, Rick Styron now through ahead of David Bierman into third place. Styron, what a great recovery on this first lap after a dismal start, but he's up into third position. What a racer, what a great lap that was. If he'd have hooked up at the start, he would probably have been challenging the race leader, who's up across the line. Richard Sykes leads from Jerry Taylor. Third position, Rick Styron. So it's first and second in the race, are first and second in the championship. Back to David Bierman in car number 87. 34 years of age, from Great Baddow, company director. Married with 2 wonderful children, he says on his driver biography. I'm sure they're here supporting him today. His brother John, Tom Andrew, is back behind him, and running well just behind them, Sid Coombs, who we heard from between races, hoping to try and maintain his position. Oh, no problems at all for Richard Sykes, who's getting away, but Jerry Taylor coming under pressure from Richard Styron. They are side by side coming up into Agostino. Not side by side, the camera angle flattering to deceive just a little bit there. You can see the window open on Styron's car, trying to avoid the possible mist-up that you got on the inside. James Atherton, we just saw walking away from his car. I'm sure he had a bit of contact. Now there's been a change of position here because Tom Andrews got ahead of John Bierman. Look at the water that's kicked up if you get a wheel off the circuit. Well, normally it's down to the circuit officials to punish any drivers that get wheels continually off the circuit, but here the conditions are going to do the punishing in place of the officials. So Tom Andrew having a good run, up into 5th place at the moment. John Bierman in 6th. We'll try and have a look back and see who's in 7th position. Now I saw a black car, I'm wondering if that's Stephen Boyles up into 6th. We'll try and check that out. In terms of the 924s, Class C, it's going to be Alistair Kirkham and Rebecca Jackson who are going to be renewing battle, I think, for the class honours there. So this is the 3rd place car, Richard Styron, car number 99. It's certainly putting that disastrous start to the season at Oulton Park and a disastrous start to this race well behind him as he tries to close down on Jerry Taylor. These 2 protagonists enjoy their racing immensely. Down in towards Murray's, the last corner on this 3-mile lap here at Snetterton. Still in 4th position, it's David Bierman, and we're going to go back, have a quick look at what's going on. There's Sean Siddall in car number 11, the leading 924 at the moment from Rebecca Jackson. And then down behind them, Arjo Josh in car number 44. Arjo a lot further back than we would have expected. He's been very consistent on qualifying times, and Arjo taking 9th position, so obviously had an issue in the early stages of the race, which he's now recovering from, and not getting too embroiled in the 924 battle, it must be said, as we go back and look at Jerry Taylor coming under a little bit of pressure still from 99. Richard Styron in 99 trying to close him down. There's a sort of dryish line beginning to develop, but it's still rain, still lots of spray. You can see the water. When I say dry line, it's just really the way the water sits on the track. But here we come again, down into Agostini. He's having a look. It's a speculative look. It's just too far back. You can see when they turn in, the gap between 2nd and 3rd place just too big at the moment to make a challenge. But for sure, Richard Styron putting Jerry Taylor under a bit of pressure. He's just letting Taylor know he's there. He comes offline, and that move offline just tells Taylor that, you know, when the room's there, I'm going to have a go. But Taylor's lost a little bit of momentum there, and Richard Styron all over his rear end here as they go through Oggies. Now, is he going to get the run through Oggies, through Williams, and then onto the Bentley straight? He's all over him at the moment, as you can see. Well, he's closed down now onto the long, fast straight past the stricken James Atherton 924. And again, out of the spray, that's the significant thing, so viewing will be much better. Down into the Brundle-Nelson complex. I think he's still a little bit too far back. How late can it be on the brakes? Well, the answer is not late enough, because Jerry Taylor will maintain 2nd position. It's a great little cat and mouse game between these two. You don't have to see an overtake for to appreciate that two guys are having a really good race, which these two are. And certainly Richard Styron into worrying mode for Jerry Taylor, but Taylor's an old hand, and Styron just getting a little bit crossed up there, which just shows he's right on the limit, really fighting the car, and that's what this kind of racing is absolutely all about. As we go back, Adam Croft here in car number 5, the Martini livery number 5 car, just outside the top 10 at the moment. Gary Goodwin in 46 is down behind him there, the black car with the white stripes. Still coming under pressure though, Jerry Taylor. Is he going to be able to hang on to 2nd position in this race or not? I wonder. As we go back to Stephen Potts and company, still having their dice down the order. That is for 11th position. But Richard Sykes still leading from Rick Styron.
The club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Welcome back to Snetterton for the last part of event 2 of the 2012 Logson Group Porsche Championship. We're looking at, well now, looking at race leader Richard Sykes, who is well clear of Jerry Taylor in 2nd position. Richard Styron in 3rd, who's putting the pressure on and has a look down the inside as they come into Agostini. There's not room, surely. Yes, there is. Barges his way through. What a great manoeuvre by Richard Styron. Well, I said that racing had been very clean. That was certainly, probably for my money, pass of the day. Barely room, just touched the grass. If he'd have gone too much further on the grass, then he wouldn't have had the grip, but he got through. So that was good, robust racing from the teammates. Richard Styron into 2nd position. Jerry Taylor, championship leader, coming to the Snetterton round, down to 3rd. And now can they close in on Richard Styron out front? Lap times in this one, Richard Sykes 2 minutes 27.0 and Richard Styron 2:27.3. So at the moment Sykes looks like he's got enough in reserve to hang on to it. There is Gary Goodwin chasing Adam Croft. Croft running in 12th position at the moment. Gary Goodwin 13th. And down behind them, Stephen Potts, car number 25, the running second at the moment in the production Boxsters, because ahead of this battle we'll have Stephen Brown, who's leading the production Boxsters again, and he'll be looking for a hat-trick, actually, as is Richard Sykes here, of 3 wins and 3 fastest laps. So be interested to see whether he could pull that off. At the moment it looks like he is going to do it, because Stephen Brown very much embroiled in this battle with Adam Croft and 46 Gary Goodwin. Back to the 924s, car number 11, the blue machine of Sean Siddall, leading Rebecca Jackson in car 0. It's been a good weekend as ever for the 924s. Jackson taking the first race, James Atherton taking race 2 and fastest lap. James Atherton getting fastest lap in race 1. He's not going to do it in this one. So Sean Siddall and Rebecca Jackson. Down behind them in red, it's Alistair Kirkham. That's the lead trio. Very close racing, as you can see, in the 924s. Plenty of great racing to be had in that category still. So Richard Sykes still the race leader. Richard Starr in second position. Third place, as you just saw there, is Jerry Taylor. So Taylor back in third place. This is where the overtake happened. And down behind them in fourth place, David Bierman and Tom Andrew having a good scrap. Andrew, who took fourth position in the second race, 6 in his opening race of the championship at Oulton, 4th after that, so he'll be relatively pleased with some good consistent scoring. David Bierman's been scoring well as well. He had, as we said, thrown a spin there for car number 66, Carl Rossin. Rossin, the 43-year-old from Bedford, he'll recover. He hasn't gone too far astray from circuit or got bogged down, so he'll be okay. As we go back and have a look at this battle for 4th place, at the moment David Bierman hanging on to it from Tom Andrew. David, as we mentioned, with a straight run, 3 third places, so he did make it to the podium in the first race of the weekend. As we go back onto our battle for 12th position, and it's 46 Gary Goodwin who's got the better, but now recovering is 44 Arjo Josh in white, and off goes Sid Coombs. Sid Coombs is off the circuit, he's out of the race. Look in the background, there he is, top of shot, takes a spin, nudges the tyre wall, and he's out of the race. That is going to be bitter disappointment for Sid Coombs. 4 straight 7th places in his first 4 races in the championship, and now a retirement. So now that's going to push the Adam Croft battle up to 11th place now, isn't it? Because Arjo Josh in the mix as well. As we go back to the 924s, Rebecca Jackson challenging the inside of Sean Siddall for the race lead in the 924s. Alistair Kirkham coming up behind. There is Sid Coombs out of the car, safe and well, hopefully not too much damage on his Boxster, and he'll be trying to get ready for the next round, which is Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire. Following that we go to Brands, then it's Silverstone, Rockingham, Croft, and we wind up the championship at Donington Park. Arjo Josh on his recovery though is looking, actually this is for 10th position, not 11th, because I'd not counted that. So Arjo moving through into 10th place now. It's a good position for him. So race leader Richard Sykes, he's having no problems at all. He did make the comment he thought the other drivers were getting closer to him, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Jerry Taylor in 2nd position going through there. Now back to the 924 battle, and having a good go here is Alistair Kirkham in red. So Rebecca has dropped back just a little bit on Sean Siddall, who still leads the class as they go into Coreham. You can see how some of the cars are struggling, and off goes Gary Goodwin. You can see him just struggle. Arjo Josh ahead of him struggled, and I'm wondering if Gary Goodwin was following him a tad too fast into Rich's corner, turn 1, but he recovers, but he's lost a fair bit of ground. Gary Goodwin finds himself now down in 13th position. Stephen Potts ahead of him, and if we go back to the race leader Richard Sykes, still there, turns into Nelson, left-hander, right-hander into Brundle, and into Brundle, then Nelson, then into the bomb hole, which is where they are now, and down towards Coreham Corner. Very much the latter stages of this race, and Richard Sykes, who has taken so far 2 wins, 2 fastest laps all from pole position, had a little bit of fending off to do on the opening laps of the first race that we saw today, but other than that has just had to keep it safe. It's been some wily racing from Richard Sykes, you've got to say. And out of Murray's corner and down the straight, we'll see him come into view in just a moment. Here he comes up over the brow, lights ablaze for the benefit of the back marker cars. So down into Rich's corner, safe and well. Still got that scrap for the 924s going on, and hanging on to it at the moment is Sean Siddle. Rebecca Jackson is now looking at the inside. Now Rebecca's teeing herself up the inside, and Hamilton, the next corner, is a left-hander, so it's a potential pass on here. She's going to try and go through. She's actually a little bit too far back, so it doesn't quite play out for Rebecca. Race leader then, Richard Sykes, still clear. He got about a 10-second lead over Styron and Taylor, second and third. And a good old 924 battle going on out front. Tony Mekvinsky in 27, the blue car. Carl Rossin in white, we saw, of course, have that moment off the circuit earlier on. And I think Mark McKenzie, the other car number 10. But Richard Sykes well on his way. Blue flag being shown from post 10 at Hamilton, telling the 924s that the faster Boxster is coming through. Now, they'll have completed a lap less, but of course the significant thing about the 20-minute races is that they get the same amount of race time. As we look at the challenge on for the race lead again in the 924, Sean Siddle is still there, coming under big pressure from Rebecca Jackson. Still there in third place in red at the back is Alistair Kirkham. Through the bomb hole we go again. It looks like Sean Siddle, he's on his way for a win, and very nearly the curse of the commentator. And Siddle, who got the fastest lap in the second race of the weekend, takes a spin, and that puts Rebecca Jackson through into lead position. And we got a challenge on here for second position again. Rick Styron looking up the inside, back down the order. Car number 2, Stephen Brown, involved in things as well. It's all happening everywhere in the closing stages of this race. So Richard Styron trying to get that second position back. He's got it, he's through. Styron back into second place. Down into third goes Jerry Taylor, but Richard Sykes still clear, and by my reckoning he's going to lead the championship if things stay the way they are, and there's no reason to suppose they might, but if they do, it's going to be a 12-point lead going to Cadwell Park for Richard Sykes. There is Rebecca Jackson now coming under pressure from Alistair Kirkham, who goes up the inside and goes through, I think, into lead position, but checkered flag. Richard Sykes takes the overall win, 3 out of 3, 3 wins to the 2 this season of Jerry Taylor. Richard Sykes, what a superb weekend for him. It's fastest lap again, a 2 minutes 26.9, the only driver to break into the 226s, so he'll be happy with that, and the 3 wins that he's taken this weekend. A great performance from him. It was Alistair Kirkham who came home in the 924s, and the production Boxster win going to Stephen Brown. Both cars finishing in the production Boxsters. Good reliability and racecraft from those guys. Richard Sykes confirmed as race win and fastest lap. Richard Styron second from Jerry Taylor. David Bierman in 4th place, then Tom Andrew, and John Bierman in 6th position, concluding a very wet race for the Boxsters. So how did things go for the production boys? Stephen Brown taking the win from Stephen Potts. In the 924s, Alistair Kirkham just nipping the win from Rebecca Jackson. Sean Siddle recovering for 3rd place.
Yeah, it was very wet again. The sun came out luckily, so it was a bit easier to see where we were going, but there's a lot of spray, a lot of standing water, so the car was aquaplaning quite a bit. It's doing quite well. I was again, I think, running in 7th and picking up the pace towards the end of the race, really. But just stepped out a couple of feet and caught a puddle of water on the exit, or rather on the entrance to the Bentley Straight, and the car just got away from me, and we aquaplaned across and did a nice pirouette across the grass, which was a bit worrying when I hit the barrier, to be honest. But actually, the car's not too bad, and hopefully we can get it out for Cadwell Park, so that'd be great.
been a great weekend racing, really.
And a great weekend for Richard Sykes, who has a 12-point lead over Jerry Taylor. David Bierman 13 points adrift of him in third place from Tom Andrew. Adam Croft in fifth and Arjo Josh sixth. The 924s led by Alistair Kirkham. We'll see you for event 3 at Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire.